Okay, once again, good evening and welcome back to the Board of Education's meeting for this evening. I welcome everyone back and thank you very much for your patience. As stated before we went into closed session, that we were going into closed to discuss personnel and attorney-client privilege related to athletics. Also, as part of our motion to close the meeting, it is stated that the items to be discussed in closed session can be disclosed to the public when resolved. As you know, this board spent quite a bit of time in closed session, not only tonight, but since July, discussing not only the return to school, but among other things, fall athletics. We have done extensive research on this matter since July. And it is the board's position, and it was unanimously agreed by all board members to move forward and allow the fall sports season. The only sport that will not occur is volleyball, which per NJSIAA will be played in what they have identified as season 3. Now, again, we checked with our medical people, the research, our legal. We had a lot of communication and input from all of those entities. One of the things that is going to be required is going to be mandated COVID-19 testing, among other items. And all of those other items will be spelled out in an ERAM tomorrow being sent by our superintendent. So that does sum up our closed session. Those items have been disclosed to the public, and the board is now going to move forward with their agenda. And the next item on the agenda is under President of the Board, and I'm just going to briefly mention this. This is a thank you card from the class of 2020. It is listed under athletics for our, under buildings and grounds for our buildings and grounds chair to discuss in further detail. So we did get a thank you card from the class of 2020. Those details will be discussed by Ms. Beck. And at this point in time, the next item on our agenda is the consent resolution. Mr. Kokoska, would you please read that?
The South River Board of Education, by means of a consent resolution, adopt various resolutions of a routine and non-controversial nature at one time. Whereas the below listed resolutions are hereby adopted by said Board of Education in whole, as if the same were individually acted upon. Under athletics, item 6.1, under building and grounds 7.1 and 7.2, under finance 8.1 through 8.23. Under instruction, items 9.1 through 9.12. Under negotiations, 10.1 and 10.2. Under policy and legislation, items 11.1 through 11.5. Under human resources, items 12.1 through 12.25. And safety and risk, items 13.1.
Thank you. Is there a motion for the consent resolution?
Nielsen.
Motion by Mr. Nielsen, second by Mr. Beck. Are there,
Mrs. Beck.
are there any questions?
Mr. Bannock, can I please remember to note
I'm going to announce, one moment. Thank you. Are there any questions on any items under the consent resolution, or are there any items that any board member would like to have either read separately or they would like to abstain or cast a different vote on?
I need to abstain from HR 12.10. Thank you.
And I need to abstain from instruction 9.2.
And Madam President, if I may, I'd like 9.4 voted on separately.
I'd like building and ground 7.1
So be it.
read separately.
And Brian, could you please make this agenda larger? I have very poor eyesight.
And excuse me, Dave, what did you want in buildings and ground read separately?
The donation from Project Graduation, I think it deserves mention tonight because I think it's a remarkable gesture on their part. And
I'm
Do you
going
want
to,
the resolution read separately?
I want that Building and Grounds 7.1 read separately.
I'm
So
going to
be
read
it.
it in its entirety.
Yep.
Good.
Okay, if there are no other abstentions or questions, Ken, would you please call the roll?
Give me 1 second because
Sure.
I'm pulling out the items that
Seven.
want to be read separately. Okay. Okay, Mr. Bazak,
Yes.
Mrs. Beck,
Yes.
Mr. Budson,
Yes.
Mrs. Bush.
Yes.
Now you're abstaining though, correct?
Abstaining from 9.2, yes,
That was instruction, correct?
correct.
Mrs. Lell,
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen,
Yes.
Mr. Rosanna,
Yes.
Mr. Rashatar,
Yes.
Mrs. Urbanek.
Yes. The motion carries. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, if I may, Ms. Lell,
Yes.
did you want to abstain on an item?
Yes. I mentioned 12.10.
That was what, human resource?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. When do you
All
want to
right.
do the separate, when do you want to do the separate motions?
We could do them now. So why don't we move to item 7.1? Or we can do them under the committee reports. How do we usually do this, Ken?
Sure, call. I'll defer to you.
Okay, I'll tell you
I'm
what,
good
we're
with
gonna go,
waiting for committee reports.
we're gonna go, we're gonna go through the committee reports. And as we get to the buildings and grounds, Ms. Beck will read 7.1. And as we get to 9.4, Mr. Rosanna will read we'll read 9.4. Thank you. So moving on, under athletics and extracurricular, Mr. Budson, your report.
We have one item, addition, discuss, approve homeschooled student participation in South River Middle School 2020 to 2021 school year. That's all we have.
Thank you. Buildings and grounds, Ms. Beck.
Sure. 7.1, which I was going to read in entirety anyway. It's a Project Graduation 2020 is donating a plaque in honor of the students of the class of 2020 and their SR Ramley, who did so much to help them through the last part of their senior year despite the pandemic. Kindly accept this donation in honor of all those who were affected and part of SRHS history. Hopefully no other class will endure the same. Sincerely, Shanetta Smith, on behalf of the Project Graduation 2020 Committee. And then I'm going to read you what the plaque says. In recognition of the resilient class of 2020, the senior year of the following students was interrupted by the corona global pandemic. What was not interrupted was the students' goal to be a group of proud, respectful, and extremely accomplished graduates of South River High School with great senior memories despite the challenging circumstances. With the support of our SR Ramley, they did just that together with a postponed project graduation celebration on July 26, 2020, followed by an in-person graduation ceremony on July 27, 2020. Then it lists every student's names and it ends with, everybody has a story, but they made history. Proudly donated by the SRHS Project Graduation 2020 Committee. So there's that. And then the regular report, I wanted to read this again from Monday night. Our custodial staff is working hard to, I got it written down in different spots. Our custodial staff is working hard to readjust the classrooms in order to be in compliance with current social distancing measures, while at the same time providing a clean, safe environment for both staff and students to return. Summer projects such as the primary school parking lot, the elementary middle school pedestrian bridges, and middle school outside staircase are all nearing completion. On August 18th, we received a word of a new award has been created by the ESCNJ, which will allow us to purchase PPE supplies from approved vendors with approved pricing. At present, there are a number of items that are either on back order or under order quantity due to limits to the pandemic. As of today, we are still waiting for delivery of student and teacher desk shields, air purification hydroxyl generators, and wall-mounted thermometers, which were anticipated to arrive in mid to late August. We are also in the process of contracting additional custodial staff to help with disinfecting during the school day. He's wishing everybody a better 2021 school year. And just as a note, this letter was for our meeting tonight, which is August 27th. And so it concludes my report. I mean, if we wanted to take a roll call on 7.1, that would be great.
Yes, you'll need to read the resolution. Do you have it in front of you?
Yes,
The
I do.
motion?
Yeah, I have a screen behind my screen so I can see both. The South River Board of Education, by means of a consent resolution, adopt various resolutions.
No, Ms. Beck,
No.
I'm sorry, just read the resolution.
Sorry.
Number
hold on.
7.1,
Reading the wrong spot of it, sorry.
the Buildings and Grounds Committee.
We want to accept the donation from Project Graduation 2020. Discuss approve home school student participation in South River Middle School. No, that's the wrong thing. Hold on, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Down one.
One more down, 7.1. You're almost there.
I was clicked on the wrong thing. I'm sorry. The Buildings and Grounds Committee upon recommendation, what?
Go ahead. Please
Mike,
continue.
Can you hear me? I think that it's a wonderful idea. I was talking to Shanetta about it earlier, Shanetta Smith, who chairs Project Graduation. And I told her, I said, imagine 50 years from now when we're all gone, well, at least I will be, I don't know, parents, grandparents, they might come into the school and say, what is this? And or the kid would say, what is this? And the grandparent would say, oh yeah, that was in year 2019 when I graduated. This is what happened. So on behalf of, I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of the entire board, that we're very, very grateful for this. And I think the entire school community will grow to appreciate it more and more as time goes on. Thank you.
Ms. Beck, would you continue with the reading of the motion?
Sure. The Buildings and Grounds Committee, upon recommendation of the superintendent, recommends that the donation of a plaque from Project Graduation 2020 be accepted, and I so approve. So move.
Motion by Ms. Beck. Is there a second?
Rashatar.
Motion by Mr. Rashatar. Are there any questions or any other comments?
Okay. I
And
have to agree with Dave. It's very nice, and they really had to deal with something that none of us have ever, and let's hope nobody else has ever to deal with it again. But it'll be a nice remembrance for their class in 50 years.
Thank you. Ken, is this a roll call or all in favor?
I'm going to say roll call.
Okay, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Bazak,
Yes.
Mrs. Beck,
Yes.
Mr. Budson,
Yes.
Mrs. Bush,
Yes.
Mrs. Lell,
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen,
Yes.
Mr. Rosanna,
Yes.
Mr. Rashatar,
Yes.
Mrs. Urbanek.
Yes, thank you very much. The motion is carried. Next on the agenda is the finance report. Ms. Lell.
Thank you. I'd like to spend a little bit of time, if I may, reviewing 8.1 in the manner that I did Monday, just in case there's anyone present this evening that was not present on Monday. So in order to discuss the decrease in state aid, I'd like to bring up the fact that anytime I say we, I mean our administration and then ensuing us as a board. So the administration got together, they created a board. We as a board then approved that in April. From there, we received state aid cut in the amount of $1.4 million roughly. Upon that, we needed to balance the budget. We met as a committee in June. And from there, we were able to find items that would minimize our superintendent in her superintendent's report. Also explain that. And that's where the balancing of the budget occurred. So that's 8.1. From Monday's night meeting to today, I just need to add that 8.17 was updated with the requisition list. And I will now read 8.22, which is addition approved contract Care Finders Total Care LLC for the 2020-2021 school year. And 8.23, addition, approve, discuss, approve, contract Back to Work Solutions LLC to provide mandatory COVID-19 testing for all student athletes and coaches for all 2020-2021 NJSIAA Season 1 sports and for subsequent seasons as needed. And that is the whole finance report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Love. Next, we're going to move on to our instruction committee report. Mr. Rosano, and you have asked to have number 9.4 read separately.
Yes. Unfortunately, because of the size of the agenda on my screen, I do not have the resolution in front of me.
I can read it.
Okay, yeah, please, Ken. Before we do that, though, there's nothing additional since Monday night.
Okay. All right. The instruction committee, upon recommendation of the superintendent, recommends the charter school students for the 2021 school year listed below be approved.
Roll call.
I need a motion, Mrs. Urbana.
Nielsen.
Bush.
Yes. Yes, I'm trying to talk over everybody else's unmuted mic. Thank you. So there was a motion by Mr. Nielsen, a second by Ms. Bush. Are there any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bazak?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Budson?
Yes.
Mrs. Bush?
Yes.
Mrs. Lell?
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen?
Yes.
Mr. Rosano?
No.
Mr. Rashatar?
Yes.
Mrs. Urbanek?
Yes. Thank you. The motion carries. Okay, next item on the agenda is our report on negotiations. And under negotiation, we have two items that were approved under consent. That's the approval of the SREA sidebar agreement for the middle school and approval of the SREA sidebar agreement teaching staff member scheduling. If there are no additional questions, then we will move on to the Policy and Legislation Committee report. Ms. Bush.
Sure. We have 5 items on the agenda, no change since Monday. We are adopting with this meeting the Code of Conduct for procurement and procurement procedures for school food authorities. And we are doing first reads on several other policies that are new to district due to COVID. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Our next report is Human Resources. Mr. Nielsen.
Thank you, Madam President. We have 6 new ones this evening. 12.20, addition, approve, appoint mentors for the 2020-2021 school year. Point 21, addition, approve, appoint adult education staff 2020-2021 school year. Point 22, addition, approve Beth Grakowski, attendance officer, additional work hours. Point 23, addition, approve disability, sick, family leave, Lorette Abdel Malak, elementary school teacher 2020-2021 school year. And I hope I pronounced that properly.
You did.
2.24, addition, discuss, approve coaching staff 2020-2021 school seasons. And 0.25, addition, approve, appoint Lindsay Holman, middle school English as a second language teacher for the 2020-2021 school year. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nielsen. On our next committee report, Safety and Risk Management, Mr. Bezak.
Thank you, Madam President. I have nothing new since Monday evening.
Thank you. School Community Relations, Mr. Rochatar.
Unmute, Dave.
Thank you, Mrs. Urbanek. There is nothing new to report since Monday.
Okay, thank you very much. We are now going to move on to the School Board Borough Council Liaison Committee, Mr. Nielsen.
Nothing to report this evening, Madam President.
Thank you. Item number 16, the PTA Liaison Committee, Ms. Beck.
Sure. I was actually surprised. I actually do have something to report tonight. I received a text this afternoon. They apologized for not letting me know any sooner. The primary school did actually have a PTA meeting tonight while we were having ours. And they'll follow up with me tomorrow with any questions they had or let me know what's going on. And at that point, I will pass the information off to Mrs. Urbanek, the president of the Board of Ed, because as after tonight, I don't know who's going to be handling the PTA since I will no longer be a member. So one of the things I enjoy doing is working with all the PTAs. So that concludes my report tonight for that.
And you did that very well, always keeping us up to date on what they were doing and how we could support them. Thank you.
You're welcome.
South River Public Library Liaison, Mr. Budson.
The library, you can call up, make an appointment, and pick up books from the curb. They're also taking phone calls for appointments where you could come in and browse and take out books or tapes or movies. And tomorrow they're having story time in the morning in front of the library for the younger kids. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Good information. And Mr. Rochatar, South River Foundation for Educational Excellence.
As reported on Monday, the foundation is exploring means to raise funds in a restrictive and virtual environment.
Thank you. And I would like to now call on Ms. Adelino, who is our student board representative. And thank you for hanging in there for this whole meeting. Do you have any report or anything for us?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have a report from our attorney?
No, nothing to add after executive session. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the item of new business.
Mrs. Urbanek, may I
Yes.
interrupt for a second? Would it be okay if we do payment of bills before we do new business?
Yes, sure, sure. Ms. Lell? Yeah, let's get the bills paid.
All
Or at least
right.
have all board members.
Oh, got it. Okay, so the Finance Committee recommends that all bills presented having been certified, the school business administrator, board secretary be paid as listed, and I so move.
I second. Beck.
Second, motion by Ms. Lell, second by Ms.
Ms. Beck.
Beck. And all in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Moving back to under new business, there is an addition to the agenda, and that is to accept the resignation of Cheryl Beck, our board member. Cheryl, would you like to read your letter? Can you?
Oh, I'll try it again. Okay. It is with much sadness that the time has come for me to resign my position as a South River Board of Education member. My husband and I have recently not only purchased the home, we've now moved into it, which is not located in South River. I've really enjoyed being a part of the South River School District, first as a parent and a community member, and then as an elected Board of Education member. It has been my pleasure to work with my fellow board members, superintendent, school administration, teachers, and staff, as well as working for the community that elected me. I've enjoyed the last 5 years as a Board of Education member and the years prior going to the Board of Education meetings as a parent and community member since 2008 when my children were in high school. I wish I became involved much earlier than that. I've enjoyed all of the PTA meetings, concerts, plays, club events, award assemblies, parades, and graduations that I've been able to attend. Sporting events, robotics competitions, all those lovely things I had the pleasure of doing. If you ask my children, they will say I attended more events since they were in school. They're right. Then I only had 2 children in school. For the last 5 years, I've had over 2,200, and I will surely miss it all, every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Beck. I'm going to read the motion, look for a second, and then we're going to open this up for board member comments to our departing board member, Ms. Cheryl Beck. So the motion reads as follows. The president of the board recommends the resignation of Cheryl Beck, board member, effective immediately, be accepted, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Nielsen. Board
Oh,
members?
Tony,
Oh, second by Mr. Rosano. Board members, your comments, please.
Do we
Go
have to accept the
alphabetically.
resignation?
You don't have to. If anyone wants to, they may.
Cheryl, as I said Monday night, I don't know, you're a big asset to this board. You inspired me to do things and actually inspired me to run again. I'm going to miss you. I'm really going to miss you.
Thank you. I'm going to miss you too.
Cheryl, it's been a pleasure working with you. You know, you were undaunted in coming out when you ran and when you didn't make it and you came back the next year and you did. And even when you were part of just the audience, you were very outspoken in what you believed was right for all the students, not just a select few. And you stood by your guns when you had to, and I respect that. And I wish you and your husband the best of luck in your new home.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Cheryl,
actually-
you are an excellent board member, and the board will be the less without you. You always had the best interest of the kids at heart, and that shone through like a glimmering star. We are going to miss you and your contributions, which were many, and we wish you all the luck in the future.
Thank you very much, Tony.
I promise to video and send you Tony's jokes and Chris Parton's face as to the joke. So that you will still be a part of us, even if it's from far away.
Well, thank you. I'll probably be watching them, but for the ones that I miss, definitely. Thank you very much.
You know, Cheryl, in the 1 year I've been on the board, I felt like I really didn't get to know you as much as I could, but I do know that you've been a tremendous asset and you've been a help to me. I enjoyed sitting next to you in the winter concerts. I have to remark that you were the one who told me with my long legs which rows have more leg room. I appreciate that. But seriously, I'm going to miss you a lot. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
The only thing I like to say is wish you luck in the future.
Thank you, John.
Cheryl, I need to wish you all the best. I'm going to miss our morning chats. You know that. But now we'll talk about other great things, like your new home and your new job and how well your husband is doing down there. So all the best.
Thank you very much. And yes, I'll miss those phone calls, but we can have the other conversations now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Cheryl, it is with great reluctance that I read that motion to accept your resignation. We go back a pretty long time from when you first started coming to board meetings. And then, as I think it was Kevin who pointed out, your tenacity for running and running and running until you obtained a spot on this Board of Education. You have carried yourself as the consummate professional all these years, researching items and just adding such an element to this board that will be sorely missed. The only story I do want to share is many years ago, and Kevin will remember this too, as results were coming in It was one of the years that you ran, and you ran when Kevin and I were running. The results came in, and it was very apparent that you had beat me in the results. However, the vote by mail ballots had not been counted. And I was sitting outside, just deciding, where I was going to go from this point. And you came out to me, and I looked at you and I said, just do me one favor, Cheryl. I said, be a good board member. And while the votes did come back in, and it turned that I did win that year, and you got on the board the next year, when those results came in, you came over to me and you said, Cindy, do me a favor and be a good board member. You have definitely fulfilled that. And I can't thank you more for what you have done. Thank you so much. And we
You're
will
so
miss you.
welcome. Yeah. Now, one story I have with you, Cindy, I remember because you've been on the planning board with my husband all these years. Or should I say he's been on it with you. I remember the first time you heard I was running and you looked at my husband apparently and said, does she know what she's getting herself into? And I went, I'll figure it out. And I've enjoyed every moment of it. I mean, it's been a long time, but I've enjoyed every moment of it. And again, thank you all so much.
You are welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome, Cheryl.
Thanks.
So at this time, the board is now going.
Hold on, Mr.
Oh, yes. We have a motion and a second. Roll
I
call,
think that-
please.
Is that a roll call, Chris, or just all in favor?
You can do it all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Reluctantly.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett.
Thank you. So we're getting near the end of the agenda, and it is at this time that we now open the board meeting for the reception of visitors. At this time, the public may address any concern or comment they have for the board. Please state your name and address in the chat section of the virtual meeting, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute time limit. So I'm going to ask Mr. Doherty if there is anything in the chat room for any members of the public.
Yes, we do have one comment from one of the users. The only thing that came up was the username Summer. I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of all the student athletes. We now have something to look forward to in the fall. Sports are a safe place, and we couldn't imagine school without them. Thank you, Summer DiFilippo.
Thank you, Mr. Dougherty. And on that same subject, I'd just like to make one last comment, and of course, any other board member, please. This was never a matter of, who's going to win this argument, who's going to lose it. This was a matter of taking into consideration all the research that we have been doing since July, our legal input, our medical input, and coming to the best decision possible through these hours of closed session meetings. There were no sides. There's no winner or loser here. We just move forward to do what is best in the interest of the South River school system, the children that attend it, and the people in town that support it through their taxpayers, and we thank you greatly. If there's any other board members?
Mrs. Urbanek, we did get one last question that just came in, if you don't mind.
Yes, let's answer that question, Brian. Go ahead and read it.
Good.
We have a question from Lisa Conrad, 26 Fairview Avenue. Earlier on, Mrs. Zurcher said that all schools would return in-person full-day hybrid learning except the high school. Can you please clarify?
Yes, I don't want any misunderstanding. All 4 of our schools are returning to an in-person program on October 1. All of our schools are in for the full day. The only exception to that full day schedule is the high school that will be slightly early released, just because we're having a difficult time arranging the large number of students that would need lunch at the high school. So the high school will experience not quite a half-day schedule or an early release schedule, but they will be released slightly earlier than the 2:15 dismissal time, just because of that lunch. But our high schoolers are returning to in-person programming unless they have opted for the virtual only. Our high schoolers are returning October 1st, just like all of our other students. They only have a slight difference in that lunch and just a slight early release. That's it.
Thank you very much, Ms. Zurcher. Seeing no other questions at this point in time and no other business to come before the board, a motion for adjournment is in order.
Go ahead, Cheryl.
No.
I can't do
That's
it.
what I was gonna say. Do it.
Do it. To the close of the meeting.
Someone's got to do it, or we just
You gotta
got to
do
say.
I gotta do it, okay. I move we adjourn my final meeting.
Second. Go ahead.
Motion by
Not to be,
Ms.
not to be a party pooper, but Chris, is that okay?
I think Mr. Nielsen and Mr. Rosanna both seconded, so I think we're fine.
Okay.
Good. Thank you, Chris.
Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This concludes the meeting of the Board of Education. Thank you very much. Good night.
Everyone.
Everybody.
Guys, thank you very much.